Hey there, thank you for tuning in to yet another one of my YouTube videos. Today's is going to be very interesting because what I'm going to be doing is comparing 10 years of BMW technology, engines, styling, everything. Right here is Daryl's 2011 335i, and right here is my 2018 BMW M2. If you do the math on that, it's not exactly 10 years, but we're recording this video in 2021, so we'll just stick with the 10 years. You may be wondering why Daryl's other car, his BMW M2 CS 2020 model year, is right behind me, and I'll talk about that a little later in the video, but it's something really interesting. Let's start this video off with a bang. I'm sure one of the main things you want to see is an exhaust comparison, so let's do a startup and a baby rev. Here's the M2. And here's the 335i. As you can tell, the M2 is slightly louder than the 335i. Same engine though, which I'm going to talk about right now. Turns out I don't know how to open older BMW hoods, so that took a little while. These are actually the same engine. Well, not really, but kind of. This is the older N55, this is the newer N55, but then one step further, this is a special N55 just for the M2 with the S55 pistons and connecting rods. If we go over here, I want to talk about a few things. This is a single turbo engine, so of course the downpipe has one hole to go onto the hot side of the turbo. And on the other side, there should be one other hole, right? No, it splits into two for two mid pipes and then into the rest of the exhaust. My downpipe is one hole on one side and one hole on the other side, like it should be. The older N55 also has a different engine cover, of course, a different intercooler, and a different charge pipe. Some other differences are that this N55 has a smaller turbo, and of course, the most obvious of all, the engines look really different. Let's take a good look at this, and then let's look at my engine. Then if you come here, I like this a lot better, to be honest. I forgot to mention that the older N55 uses a pneumatic wastegate and the newer N55 uses an electronic wastegate. Let's talk about headlights. You have the iconic halo running lights on here, which look amazing. The inner ones are a little bit smaller. These are just slightly over 10 years old. There's no fogging. They still look fantastic. Turn signals are bright. They're nice. These are xenon lights. And then if we go over to mine, we have LED lights, LED halos and LED lights. But the thing is, it's more like LED light, because the only functional light is this one. This is just a dud, I guess you could say. Personally, I like these a lot more, even though they're not as iconic as Daryl's BMW halos. I really like the aggressive, sporty, jagged look of these lights. Oh, there's some shade finally. It's so hot outside. As you could tell, I'm sweating a lot. Daryl's sweating too. Anyways, this next comparison isn't exactly that fair, considering this is an M car and this isn't. But nonetheless, I want to go over overall style. First, let's go over to Daryl's grills. Of course, these are the iconic BMW grills. The kidney grills just look great in my opinion, whether it's the E46 boxy ones or it's these ones or they're mine. I think they look great. Let's go over to my grills. As you can see, they're double grilled, I guess you could say, because they are the M grills. They're finished in carbon fiber, which is aftermarket. I did it myself, but overall the shape has remained quite similar. I'm trying to think of the best way to describe this car's styling, and the best thing that I could come up with is that the designer of this car used a very wide paintbrush to make it. That doesn't really make sense, but what I'm trying to say is that if you look at this car, it's smooth, it's flowing. The body lines are pronounced, but they're not very aggressive. It's just a very smooth, it's like water, I guess you could say. That's the best way I can describe it. And as I was saying, there's no spoiler or anything. It's just very smooth. Everything about this car is smooth. As you can see here, the designer of my car had a thinner paintbrush. It's not as smooth, but not in a bad way. There's a lot of aggressive, bold body lines. As you can see with the hood, as you go throughout here, there are aggressive body lines. They're very bold, they protrude out. Huge wide fender flares. Even the rocker panels have this portion coming out. Overall, just a very aggressive looking car. And if you take a look at the back, nothing changes. You still have this really beefy rear end, whereas Daryl's car has a sleek rear end and the whole car is sleek. Whether it's Daryl's car with the sleek, smooth design or my car with the bold, aggressive design, I think both look really good for what they are. And in 10 years, well, honestly, even if you date back to the beginning of BMW, the style has always been really good. Okay, I think I made you wait long enough. The reason Daryl's car is in the background here is because it has a manual transmission. Mine has a DCT, and Daryl's old car has a manual transmission as well. And I want to compare the differences between the manual transmissions because there's actually quite a few. Introducing the BMW manual transmission featuring Daryl's iconic water bottle. Daryl has had this water bottle probably for as long as I've been alive, and it's been in every single one of his cars. Anyways, with that out of the way, let's talk about the manual transmission. First off, this is a different shift knob, and you may be thinking, of course it's different because it's an M shift knob. But the thing is, Daryl also had a 135i, and it had the M package on it, so it had an M shift knob, and it was the exact same as Daryl's 335i, except it had an M in the middle. Another thing about Daryl's transmission is that it has auto rev match on both the upshift and the downshift, unless you turn DSC off. One other interesting thing is that this clutch actually has a delay valve on it, so normally the bite point is right here. With the delay valve, depending on your RPM, what gear you're in, and a few other factors, the clutch will start biting in different positions. So let's say you're in first, it might bite here, in second it might bite here, in third it might bite here, in fourth it might bite here. Of course it's not that dramatic of a difference, but it can get annoying when you're trying to shift from 1 to 2. That's where I notice it the most. And it's also a little annoying sometimes when you're trying to shift fast or if you're on the racetrack. Daryl's old car doesn't have this, and the reason this was added in is just for safety of the drive shaft. So if people are popping the clutch, there won't be a whole surge of torque going to it and snapping it. My hood looks so good from here. Oh, wow. Here we are in Daryl's extreme purest driver's car, where the manual transmission is literally just a manual transmission. Here's what the shift knob looks like. You have to rev match on the upshifts, you have to rev match on the downshifts, and there's no clutch delay valve on here, so if you ever feel the need to break your drive shaft, go right ahead. And also, more practically, it means that the clutch bites at the exact same point, no matter what RPM or gear you're in. Since we're inside, I want to talk about the interior. This interior is actually two-tone, but it's actually three-tone if you think about it. You've got red, you've got black, and then you've also got this sort of off-white headliner, which looks great in my opinion. Moving on to the trim, there's no carbon fiber, it's not an M car, but there is this real bamboo wood, which looks great in this car, and adds to the whole classic, elegant look of this car. You've got cup holders here and here, which pop out, but there's no cup holders here like my car. The vent layout is pretty much the same, with one on either side and then two in the middle. There's surprisingly a little digital display here. I'll turn on the AC for a second, and you can see that. The dashboard is analog, which is interesting because the dashboards on the F-Gens are all analog as well. Overall, very nice looking steering wheel. It's, I think, almost the same as the M package one, except there's no M here. It's nice and thick, leather wrapped, looks great. The lights are pretty much the same, and while this is a 3 Series, since this is an E-Gen, it also came in the coupe version, and if you look back there, the back seat looks amazing. There's a tunnel here that goes all the way through, whereas in most cars, the tunnel ends here. Storage space here, another little cubby here, and also storage space here, which is great. 2 fans, and something really interesting here, there are lights there and there. You also have a bunch of speakers in this car, and Daryl is an optional extra. There's ambient lighting here in the driver's door and the passenger door, and also ambient lighting here on both sides, which is really surprising for a car coming out of 2011 model year. We also have these cool door pouches, one right here, and then this which extends out. These E90 seats are actually very similar to the F30 seats with extendable thigh support, overall design, and also the folding feature. In fact, I think the folding mechanism is the exact same in this seat. The difference with these E90 seats and the F30 seats or the F87 seats is that there's a net here for the coupes where there's no net here. I know you've seen the interior of my car quite a few times on this channel, but we'll still go over it really quick. If we go over here, we have the cup holders here. One's being occupied by my M Performance exhaust button, and this can close if you'd like. There's a lot of carbon fiber in here, 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 everywhere pretty much. The steering wheel here has quite a few more functions. Actually, now that I think about it, it doesn't have quite a few more functions. This is pretty much the same amount of functions, if not less. I love how the steering wheel looks. I love how it feels. It is Alcantara. The steering wheel that came with the car, though, was leather. Again, the lights look very similar, but no fog lights. Here's what the backlit LEDs look like. If you look around, you'll notice this is a one-tone interior, which is absolutely crazy. We've got black on black on black on black. A similarity between both of the cars is that they have a manual parking brake, which is great on this car's part. So good job, BMW. I'm happy you've kept this alive to at least 2018 model year. There are also door cubbies on here, and I believe there's slightly more space. There is no folding extension though. In the backseat of my car, it's a little bit darker thanks to the 5% tints and the new Collecting M stickers. But what I want to talk about is the backseat styling. So just like the 3, you have the cup holders back here and the armrest. And unlike the 3, You have a little storage cubby here, but nothing back here, and there is no tunnel extending out here. Well, there is a tunnel, but it's not up here. You have your 2 vents right there, and no lights either. And of course, this is perfect for the BMW natural air fresheners. To finish this video off, and because you and everyone else really enjoyed my 16 things you didn't know about your BMW M2 video, I want to go over a few cool features of this car. Both cars have the convenience pack. So with this, you can lock the car, and you can also unlock it like that. And of course, if you hold down the unlock button, you can unlock the windows and the sunroof. One extra interesting thing here is that when I hold the unlock button, the sunroof goes back all the way, whereas with my car, it'll only go back about 80%, and then you have to hold it again for it to go back the remaining 20%. If you come closer, you'll see how the convenience door handle looks, and to be honest, the door handles look almost identical on both cars. One interesting quirk of this interior, and yes, Doug DeMuro, I'm stealing your catchphrase. There's a grab handle over there on the passenger side door, but if you look at the driver's side door, there's no grab handle. There's just this thing. The OBD port is not up here, which most of the F-Series cars have, but it's actually here behind this plastic cover, and it just comes off like that. I'm sure you can relate to this. Your hands are a little bit greasy. You go to close your trunk lid like this, and now there's grease marks all over it. But with this car, there's actually 2 handles, one here and one here for you to close the trunk. No grease marks, but you can add them on if you want. This car actually has seatbelt extenders. I'm gonna try to show you them functioning. When you open the door and put the seat back, they should, okay, they don't wanna. This next cool feature is very interesting because it never came with the car, but it was supposed to. I'll give you 3 seconds to guess what it is. 1, 2, 3. Okay, Daryl, tell them what it is.
Car didn't come with headlight washers. In Ontario, we need them during the winter. I installed them.
So, tell them about it.
All right. I had to take the front of the bumper off.
And what did you do there, Daryl?
Okay, so the tank right here, it's the same looking tank as the original. The original, though, only has 1 motor in it, which is for windshield washers. So because you've got headlight washers, you need a second motor. So this other tank had the second motor in it. I had to also put the hosing and the plumbing there for the front headlight washers, and I also installed the wiring. The wiring is yet to be completed.
One other thing, it's not really a feature, but the underside of this hood looks really cool. And with that, this video is about to come to an end, but before we finish it off, I want to show you something really quick. If you were wondering what my shirt says, it says Algonquin Takeout. You have a little bear over here getting his takeout from the restaurant right here. There's a bee following me.
That's a great outtake.
Okay, we're good. Okay, we're all good now. We can finish the video off. But before we do that, I just want to say a quick thank you once again for watching my video. It really does mean a lot to me, and I really hope you enjoyed it. I post every Thursday at 9 a.m. So if you enjoyed this video, come back on Thursday and you'll have another video that's just as good, if not better. And last but not least, of course, if you look under this video, there's a red subscribe button. If you click your mouse on that, something fantastic happens. I won't tell you what it is, but something fantastic does happen. Please also leave a like and comment telling me what your favorite part of the video is. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week, and I'm excited to see you in next week's video.